Oh, you know, it's been a hell of a year, hasn't it? It's been a year since I released my The Death of Physical Media video, which of course was me talking about how Disney had pulled out of Australia in terms of releasing physical media. Obviously, for them, it was a potentially cheaper endeavour to stop releasing physical media in Australia and, New Zealand and most countries in general, and emphasising, go on Disney Plus, it's all there. Who needs special features? It's all there. So yeah, so I want to talk about that. I want to talk about what it's been like in a Disney-less country, and has it been a Disney-less country, and how it's been in terms of importing and exporting and stuff like that. So, in terms of actually buying future, further releases, once the news had hit, obviously I went kind of crazy buying all the animated features that I could get because I wanted them. I was like, there's a thing when it comes to the Diamond Editions and all that and all the different releases that I wanted to get the Blu-rays that had special features. So I sought out a lot and got a lot. There was a big sale at the time at JB, perfect time to get them. Within the year, a lot of them still remain, to the point that they actually had signs around saying that Disney's coming back. But they weren't coming back, they just found a shitload of stock in an old warehouse, basically, at least from what most of us could assume, and they just put it back on shelves. Huzzah, Disney's back! What a lie. Most of the animated sections were replaced with pop vinyls, which is depressing. So, there's that. The superhero films are still there for the Marvel things and stuff. Obviously, there aren't any more future releases after Guardians 3. Gone. No Marvels, no Loki, no nothing. I only say those because those got physical releases in the UK and in America, of course. Most notably the TV shows like WandaVision and Loki, even stuff like the Star Wars shows like Andor and Obi-Wan and The Mandalorian Season 1 and 2. Limited to just steelbook releases, but they were physical releases and 4K UHDs, which is really good, comparing the fact that they just didn't have any releases to begin with, and now suddenly Australia's not getting anything, so we're going to put more money into more premium releases, I guess. And they're very expensive still. I haven't bought any of them. I don't really plan to. Maybe Andor. I do like Andor. And that on 4K would look stunning. But, I'm content with not buying anything for now, because do I really want to spend $100 on one season of a TV show in a steelbook form? Not really. So, there's still been Disney releases. I've still found stuff in store that's 20th Century Fox and whatnot that have been... They had a bunch of Warner Brothers and 20th Century Fox films come back of recent months. Obviously just found old stock from 20-year-old Blu-rays, basically stuff that... not 20-year-old, 10-year-old Blu-rays, 10 to 15 years, stuff that came out between 2008 and 2012, including Romeo plus Juliet. I found that the other day, and that's a 20th Century Fox, and it was $13. I was like... I mean, it has all the commentaries and stuff. It's the only version that exists that's better than the DVD, which I didn't even have a physical copy, so I was like, I might as well. It has the commentaries, it has special features. Disney Plus doesn't have any of that, so, there's a perk there. There's no 4K or anything, but neither has that been announced either, so I'm like, I'm going to hit in that ballpark of hoping that there isn't a 4K anytime soon, but also that maybe because I'm buying the Blu-ray, it's one of those, twists of fate. Now the 4K is going to get announced. It won't, but a man can dream, or a woman can dream. Fucking anyone can dream, realistically. I don't know, do you like Romeo plus Juliet? I've never seen it, so I bought it. So in terms of how it's looked at as the... oh no, because Disney's pulled out, is everyone going to follow suit? And no, there was a contractual thing where one of the companies, I think it was Sony, had to find a new partner or someone else to distribute Blu-rays in Australia in particular. And that was fine. It meant that a lot of people panicked at the end of last year. It was almost a Y2K for Blu-rays. It was like, oh my god, there's nothing on the roster to come out in January. We're fucked. And then things did come out in January. They just had a new distributor. So I think most of the discs ended up being probably made in Mexico or some shit like they usually are, and then exported into Australia, which is fine, we're still getting releases in Blu-rays in general, so Disney pulling out has not encouraged other companies to pull out, which is great. My God, I hope there's no sexual connotation to anything that I'm saying here, because there's still the right phrase in here. So, I haven't been too panicked about it. In terms of, actually buying Disney releases that I really wanted, I think I've only imported maybe one or two, and even, 20th century, I have to think as well, it's 20th Century Fox, not just Disney. I know is it even 20th Century? Is it 20th Century Studios now? Is that what they call it? Either way, I don't care. I still call it Fox because those are the old branded releases. There's also Searchlight Pictures and stuff like Poor Things that I loved last year and had to import from the US. I could have imported from the UK as well, but I think it was an all regions disc, so I didn't really stress about it. Which is one of the benefits of the Disney brand, is that most of their discs are all regions. So even if I import from whatever country, I'm fine. I just want to make sure I get the release that has the special features. I think maybe I got the UK release then. I don't know where it is. It ain't on the shelf yet. But again, that was also kind of bare bones with release in terms of there wasn't much difference. Obviously, as someone who is in Australia having to import from either the UK or the US, because they're the biggest countries to get these Blu-rays from, for me it's always been a question of, I need the one that has the actual special features on the disc. So say, Indiana Jones Dial of Destiny, I knew Dad would want to buy that, and obviously it's not coming out in Australia, so I had to import it. I imported the UK edition. It was actually slightly cheaper than the US edition, but it came with the bonus disc, which was, or at least it came with the special features. I'm pretty sure it was meant to have a bonus disc, at least it was advertised as such, but either way it came with all the special features without it being a digital code, which, no shame in liking digital codes and whatnot. I'm not a digital code person, but those expire, for one thing, and also they're usually limited in what country you can utilize them in, so I'm I'd prefer to have all the special features on a disc, hence why I didn't get any of the modern, newer Disney releases for, animated films. I'm not going to do that if all the special features are in the cloud. Get fucked. So I had to be more strategic with how I had to buy things in terms of importing. I've ordered from stuff like Dead and DVD and the Cinemaniacs. I ended up getting Snow White on 4K, and that was the US release, which came with the slipcover. So it's I'm getting one of the benefits of the US release because it's got that, a digital code that I'm not going to use and can't use, and a really thin, shitty kind of case, but at least it has the sleeve, so it kind of makes it a slight bit better, because I'm also pretty picky on how American cases are notorious for being really thin and shit. They're not great. So, it is what it is. Some Australian releases can falter, but for the most part, those and the UK ones are thicker cases, better protection. Again, I wouldn't even say it's a nitpick, it's just a thing you realize when you're in different countries as to how the formats are actually packaged and whatever. So, yeah, it's been an interesting year. Can I say I've spent more money because I've had to import? I don't think so, but also I think so at the same time. I've had to spend more to get something like Indiana Jones, to get something like Snow White, upwards of 40 Australian dollars, and that's not a wonderful thing. I'm happy that this has been supporting people that I, actually like buying from, again, like Dead and DVD, like Cinemaniacs, like Outrun DVD, but then it's also this is money that if we had had a regular release in Australia, it would have been at least $20 cheaper. That would have been nicer, probably no, slip cover or anything glossy or whatever, but at least it would have been the product I wanted, but for cheaper. So I've been eyeing less stuff to buy unless I really, really like the film, or the release is really definitive or superfluous or something, because of course then the James Cameron releases came out for Aliens and True Lies and The Abyss, and you know what I didn't buy? Any of those releases. It wasn't completely because of Disney, but it kind of was, but it was also because his AI upscaling bullshit that I'm I don't need that in my life. If I want to watch True Lies, I will just not watch it, I guess, because you just can't watch it. I could always just stream it on Disney Plus. At least it's still got that version. It's still the awful upscale version, but it's like I can stream it. I mean, I'm not spending like $60 to $80 on one film, because all those films were quite expensive. They are still quite expensive if you can even get them, because they are pretty difficult to find sometimes. Again, I'm looking at like Amazon Marketplace thing, and like it goes up and down because it's a marketplace. They will sell out, then they won't sell out. They did recently have Prime Day deals, and I was like, I could get The Abyss for like $40, and I would like to get The Abyss because it has the extended cut, which I have seen and I do like. But I just decided against it. Like, there's other things I could spend my money on that I'd be happy to spend my money on. Like, I've seen The Abyss once. It was in the cinema. It was in 70mm. I was happy with that. I don't need to see it again on an AI upscaled 4K, even if it's the arguably best looking one of the bunch. I'm happy with my Blu-ray of Aliens. There was another one there I'm pretty sure that I've forgotten, but there is True Lies, which is also one that I really would have liked to have gotten. But again, it's importing expensive releases, and it's not fun. In terms of finding stuff at like local retailers and stuff, or random stores, or even on eBay, I've still kind of had an eye for it. Like if there's something like a Tony Scott film, or, you know, just something that's of the past 20 to 30 years that still has some kind of, you know, Blu-ray release. Again, like Romeo plus Juliet. I have found some of them occasionally, and if they're a good enough price, I'll be like, I'm happy to buy this. Like, because at the same time, I also have that mentality of, I don't need to because it's on Disney Plus, but because I like extra things. Like, if it's just the film and nothing else, I will probably just be like, I can probably just watch it on streaming at some stage. Maybe, you know, like, I'm not going to support streaming, but I'm also not going to support streaming. I don't pay for Disney Plus, so don't get too angry at me. It's not my account. It's my girlfriend's, so it's fine. But at the same time, it's like, obviously I'd prefer to have a physical copy on my shelf, because that's just the kind of person I am. Hence why I got, you know, Romeo plus Juliet, because I wanted to have a copy on my shelf, but also it came with special features. It came with commentaries and behind the scenes and, you know, gag, all that shit that I also like to have. It came with all that stuff. And I'm like, that's good, because it probably won't ever get a 4K release, and if it does, it'll maybe be bare bones if you get anything at all, if they don't repackage it with the old Blu-ray disc and whatever, and then it'll still be Region A because it's a US release or a UK release, if we're lucky. So obviously, yeah, physical media hasn't died, which is good. I'm very happy that it's still around, that no other companies have seen it fit to jump ship or whatever. So in terms of being an Australian consumer, it's a bit more expensive, obviously, but you either have the choice of faltering and just getting the Disney Plus subscription, or importing and getting it for expensive prices. So it hasn't been fun, but honestly, like me buying Poor Things, love it. I love that I can own it. Same goes for like Indiana Jones. Whether you like the film or not, do you know what my dad has done? He's watched it 3 more times on the 4K alone, just because he wanted to watch it. And do you know what? He could do it because I had it on the fucking shelf, because I could buy a physical copy, and that's wonderful. That's the stuff that I like. I will put in the arm and the leg to do something that will benefit other people. Like if I'm going to be buying films that aren't just benefiting me, but are benefiting family, you know? And it's so much easier for that reason. People in my household, people who are friends or family, can borrow films and watch films that, you know, they'd have to either rely on a fucking streaming service to find, or it's just not there at all. So the end all be all is that we're still running hot. Like, I'm just not buying as many Disney releases, which is perfectly fine for me. Like, if there's, again, once in a while, and most of them are bloody, like, Searchlight pictures or something, stuff that I actually have quality picture, like something that is a good film, like Poor Things, basically anything Yorgos Lanthimos. But like, there's just a bunch of stuff like that. I'll have to import The First Omen at some stage, because I really like that film. I don't know if they did a 4K release. If they did, that's the one I want to get. But again, I'm happy to wait on that. I don't need to rewatch it anytime soon. It's fine for now. I will leave it be. I saw it in the cinema. I enjoyed it. We'll go from there, you know? But obviously I want to add it to my collection. because I really liked it as a film. So yeah, again, it'll be once in a blue moon there will be a film that I want to get, especially if it's a new 4K or if it's a good restoration or if it's just a great film that's just come out recently. But I'm spending more of the money I would have spent on Disney films on other films, on other boutique labels, on Australian labels like Umbrella and Imprint, and even importing stuff from Kino or from Scream Factory or from Second Sight, you know. So, my money's still going into physical media, whether it's Disney or not, and I'm okay with that. So, it's definitely more stressful for the regular person who doesn't import, whether they even know to do so or not. I don't know. So, I have friends still who watch like the Marvel films and clearly want to get physical releases of the Marvel films because they just like being able to just put it on and not have to stress about our shitty goddamn internet. So for other people, it's probably definitely a stressful thing, and I could go to JB and they would still have Disney stuff there, but obviously you'd still have someone go to the counter and be like, "Hey, are you getting? Can I get a pre-order for Deadpool has sex with Wolverine the movie?" And they'd be like, "Sorry, it's a Disney release. We don't get those anymore." So the regular consumer who doesn't know what to do is stuck with either a streaming service or maybe they'll figure out how to import it. I mean, people aren't stupid, clearly, but are they going to look at that film and be like, "Oh my god, it's $60 on Amazon. That's ridiculous. I'm not going to buy it." Or they maybe buy it for Christmas when it's maybe on sale, and they really got to wait for it. It's not going to be a day one purchase. So yeah, it is what it is. Obviously, I'm finding ways for myself to survive, for myself to cope, but most other people, I can't imagine that they're as happy with the news. Like, I don't think anyone's happy with the news, but I don't know. It's been a weird year. So anyway, that's all for now. Physical media is still alive. That's good. Disney can suck a dick. That's good. And yeah. See you next time. Adios.